Uh, what's up, folks? Morning, Johnny. All right, not sure why the live chat is unavailable. It's kind of weird. Kind of weird, man. All right, let me try one thing out here. Okay, maybe this will get the ball rolling properly. Okay, so let's take a look at these charts here. I should be screen sharing here momentarily. There we go. All right, we're in there. How you guys doing? If I can't, so what we're gonna do is this. Let's the chat today. What we're gonna do? We're gonna just use it through the school. So where I posted the link that we're live, we'll use that as the chat for today. So I have the chat pulled up here on the side. So the pin post announcing the live session, and then where I have the poll. That's where I want to see. So if you guys have any charts, have any questions, let me know in there. I'll have that pulled up and ready to roll. Okay, so let's look at this. Let's see what's up with this, with these markets over here. So here, taking a look at indices, and I'm not necessarily looking at Bitcoin right now, but it just happened to be here. So let's pull this up. I don't know what's wrong with this thing. All right, whatever. So as we're looking at this, let me open this up here. Give you guys a little bit of perspective. Right now, we kind of have an interesting charts to look at, because if you noticed, you should be seeing indices kind of doing a drop into a key zone. Kind of looks like it can be a buy setup, but let's dive into it, get a bit more clarity on exactly what this looks like. And something I want to show you guys is here. All right, apparently I need to log in again. So let me go ahead and do that first. 1 second, guys. Got logged out. Okay. So are we looking over here? Okay. Concurrent connection. So is it over here? Okay. There we go. Okay, here we go. And then I move this over to this tab. All right, so obviously when you're trading, the last thing you want to do is just rush everything. Feel like the market's going to go without you. If you are ever in this type of feeling, if you ever have that kind of like vibe where you're like, oh my God, like I got to scramble to figure things out, then that's when you're going to end up making mistakes. So we want to limit that kind of behavior. And before we do anything, let's just kind of zoom out a little bit, okay? So as much as we want to go for, or at least I am leaning towards some buys, I see also shorts. There's kind of two opportunities here. I do want us to have the awareness of the market right now. And on the 1 hour, I think you just get a really good perspective. So, for example, when we look at NQ here on the right, and then you look at Dow Jones here on the left, And let me just pull up. Here we go. So when we look at both of these, we can see that the drops that we got during London session over here, they're kind of building up more and more liquidity. So we start to see Asian lows from Sunday, and then Tuesday, London session lows as well. And then we had this huge sell-off before the market ripped. So this is how the week started. And when the market worked its way higher, what do we start seeing? And guys, again, appreciate you all for hitting the like button, liking the stream, sharing with other people, trading with me live. You know, yesterday's short we got was a great one. At the end of the stream, we caught the high of the day and then was able to write this down. But with that being said, when we did get this high, and I talked about how we could get above Friday's New York session and play into previous levels of support, we wanted to see if what was this, demand or not. Same thing here with NASDAQ. I talked about how we want to let the market, let's see what it looks like when it gets above Thursday's highs. And are we going to see that shift of structure as well? Is there any demand appear? And obviously, we saw that there wasn't. So now we have to make a decision and really determine, are we getting bullish structure? So NASDAQ, for example, trading up here across the day, closing the day bullish, and then starting the next day off relatively bearish. Is this a bullish structure? It looks like it so far to me. Whereas with Dow, this is not giving me signs that we're relatively bullish. So it loses that momentum and continues to trade down. So I wouldn't be surprised if we go a little bit lower to tackle on and mitigate that weekly open. Same thing here with NASDAQ. I think we could work our way back down to these areas and just kind of see where are we going to get with this. Also, we do have basically liquidity down here with NAS. So if we go to the 4-hour, you see equal lows here as well. So we may just be looking at a quick sweep of these lows before the market runs. Maybe we get a shakeout setup here as well. So what I want to do now is let's get into the details. Let's get into the smaller time frames and see, is there opportunity? So for example, we have the weekly open right there. So I just want to make sure this is marked up for you guys. So over to this zone is where we could get opportunity later on. Right now, we may not necessarily, get there right away, but we can see options over here. So we want to understand the extremities of the market so we can just position ourselves better. Now that's the higher time frame, right? Slightly higher time frame. If we start to zoom in and look at the structure, this recent structure that we're getting within the last 24 hours, 24 to 48 hours, cool, we see liquidity, we see equal lows. Just recently, if we're looking at, the smaller time frame structure here, you're going to start to notice, and I guess I could switch that over, but you'll start to notice that the market during London, it wasn't the London session low, but you do see a sweep, the continuation. So we see more movement over here. So a nice push down, higher highs here for a bit. We get about 30 minutes above the high. And then we come back up to here. Right now, it's, I think, in question whether, are we seeing a mitigation with this sweep down? Are we going to see the extension? Do we go and clear these highs? I think the same thing is in consideration with NASDAQ. Is this the low? Are we now going to see the market push higher and higher? So also remember, guys, you will be seeing the different contracts if you're trading futures between NQU and NQM. So we're going into NQU here. That's the rollover. But what we're seeing is especially with Dow, we just got into its zone where the market could mitigate. Maybe some of you are actively in buys right now. Maybe you took Dow Jones. And if I look at Nasdaq from here, to me, it looks like the sell-off starts a little bit lower, so I'm not quite convinced that we're quite ready to keep pushing higher. However, on the other side of the coin, Nasdaq also, it didn't really get higher highs. Like we traded a little bit above into this zone, but in reality, we're still trending downwards. We're not really seeing that shift in momentum. Yes, we came back to trade into this order block from Monday London session, but that's really it. So we do, like, I do get it, and we're seeing that there's very little demand down here. So I'm totally in agreement with that. What I don't love about the way the market is presenting itself right now is the fact that when we do trade higher, when we get into these zones, we're not really sustaining these levels. Whereas if you look at Dow here, Dow does a better job at trading above its previous highs. It maintains structure. And then when it dropped, though, it's dropping a little bit quicker. It's making this move a little bit faster. So this might be a case for me where I'm not going to be involved in the open. If the market keeps pushing higher and we get about 70 points to the upside, looks like this is a mitigation. So we're seeing basically the swap from sellers to buyers here. So when we see something like this is giving me signs that, all right, cool, we're already seeing an exchange of money. We're seeing that swap, which is fine. The next position that I'm mindful of, because we may just go push towards trading above Asian session highs or this Asian session liquidity, because you guys should be able to notice this. You're seeing more and more retail sellers joining the fun here. We got these trend lines building up over here. So I wouldn't be completely surprised. We had a very efficient trade all the way down to here. And then we get the, here's the last New York session lower high right here. So you see a nice pump right there before the market drops. This move comes up, mitigates this bullish push as well. If you zoom out a little bit more, we notice that, okay, there wasn't really much demand over here. The market traded very efficiently on the way down. And here we see this upswing in momentum, big move here. If you look at Nasdaq for a move like this as well, this is basically going into the last hour of New York session. You see a similar move right there. So you kind of see it take its movement to the upside. Nasdaq's push to the upside was not as as it worked its way down. It wasn't very bearish. Like, it dropped, but not significantly. So if we can see Dow trade up into this range, yesterday's Asian session highs rebalance, mitigate this, I think we have a good trade. So going to be conscious of what the market looks like as we push upwards to this zone. And I think we can get a nice short here. I'd say max 70 points or so. And we'll kind of see where the market can take us here. But trading into this level, excuse me, makes a lot of sense. Right around here. So as of right now, it looks to me like we're seeing Dow play out of the zone really nicely. Maybe you took a buy position here. I did not. As I was taking a look at how NASDAQ was trading, I kind of wanted to see NASDAQ go a little bit lower. Now we're definitely seeing Dow more bullish than NAS, and you can tell just looking at the market structure. If you look at these and you put them side by side, you can see, oh, Dow is trading upwards a bit more quickly. It's rebalancing a bit more quickly here. Whereas NASDAQ is kind of slowly working its way to this side. So we can see how this continues. This I would classify as a mitigated position now. We see the exchange from sellers to buyers. So these orders have been filled. If you are in a buy here on Dow, let's say you decided to take that, at this point I would protect my money. I would move my stop to entry, or at least to this low. Because now we've seen successfully the sell to buy right there. Whereas if you're looking over here with NQ, we're still relatively just kind of chilling. And yeah, I would want to see how we kick things off, clearing the Asian to London session highs, getting into this imbalance. I think this is kind of where we're going to see the market continue to. Depending on how things are set up, this drop and rally, this may turn into a buy scenario. So we see how we kind of sell off here, continue. If the market keeps going higher, so for example, let's say we keep trading upwards, we get good confirmation of demand. I don't exactly know what that would look like, but if we keep getting something like this, then maybe we would take a buy. But we'd have to continue to see something like that. So as we're seeing the session begin, we're getting a significant amount of momentum here to the upside. NASDAQ and Dow moving together. That's nice. Okay, on the same page. We're seeing NASDAQ now have a bit of a stronger push. Okay. Sweet. So if the market continues like this, then we might see NASDAQ, which is kind of what I thought would happen, is we may just see NASDAQ push and clear out these highs, get into this imbalance, and then we can see a short out of this range. And we may get, post New York Open, might make its highs relatively quickly. Right now, we're starting to clear liquidity. And the question is there a setup to take, right? Is there a buy that we can get involved in? Or are we just going to be patient and wait for wait for a sell? I want to zoom in on NASDAQ here and just kind of witness, did we have a mitigation here or not? It seems like we're going to get down to this at some point. Right now, we're seeing NASDAQ clearing those highs, getting above those London session highs. Dow pushing even stronger, just liquidating these trend lines right now. And getting above London session highs, getting into Asian session, kind of like into this Asian session range. What's interesting about the price action right now is look at NASDAQ's trading. NASDAQ right now is starting to kind of dip down. So these are not moving in opposite directions. NASDAQ here completely melting down, rebalancing the New York Open. I'm going to keep my eye on this because I'm curious if we're going to end up getting a short out of this range. We'll see. And maybe looking to short NASDAQ if we keep getting Dow to push higher and higher and NASDAQ kind of just maintains this structure. We may be seeing NASDAQ's intention only to sweep this liquidity and rebalance and then continue its move to the downside. Right now, if you look at, for example, like Dow, Dow traded up to above London session highs, trading it into this range. Now they're both starting to lose a little bit of steam. We're seeing NASDAQ do the typical break. So it breaks out, liquidates sellers, activates buy stops, pulls back in. We're looking at Dow do something kind of similar now. So we're starting to witness that there's little demand as of right now above these highs. I want to see how this continues. Before I make a decision on shorting something like this, it's not just like, oh, look, there's a break and retest. That is a typical retail break and retest trade. Let's just short it once it comes up. We need to have the right context, right? We need to have the right information regarding the rest of the market. So when we think about how this is moving along, are we witnessing enough enough liquidity? Are we witnessing enough liquidity getting swept to then drastically shift momentum in the market? So right now we cleared, the highs from a couple hours ago. We cleared London session highs. We're kind of just trading into the Asian session range. And we have Asian session imbalance over here. So in order to sell, I feel like we should be pushing higher to lure in more money. Right now we're witnessing, but the reality is when we get above these areas, so when Dow gets above this liquidity that we had here, it doesn't want to stay up here. That's evident. So we're seeing, okay, Dow is not looking to trade over there. Little demand as of now. And we're witnessing NASDAQ clear these highs. This demand also seems to be virtually non-existent. Okay. So now we have two perspectives here where we clear the highs, we work our way down. Either way, we do want to be, at least I want to be short on today. I want to sell. But I want to make sure that we're not jumping the gun on this short. And the fact is that we're currently seeing New York open, clear liquidity. We're seeing the market drop. This is, in my opinion, a textbook break and retest. This is luring in buyers. So I think more buyers are probably going to keep getting in here. And I think we can see another push before the market drops. When I'm considering this, though, what I do want to understand a little bit better is which of the two is going to give us the opportunity. And so it's looking like I'm going to short the one that kind of moves to the upside last. So whichever one here is kind of slower to make its next move to the upside, it looks like that's the one I'm going to be taking. And I'm not sure yet if it's going to be Dow or if it's going to be NASDAQ. So we're kind of going to wait and see here what that break and or what this shakeout setup can look like. So let's see here. Okay, so if you see right now, both Dow and NQ working their way down. Looks like NQ wants to kind of eat up these positions and start pushing higher first. So let's just kind of see here. All right, and what I'm doing on this side, what you can't see is I am setting up both I'm looking to identify, okay, what's going to be my contract size or my lot size if I do short either or. This way, I'm ready for either situation. Okay. So to me, this is looking more and more like it's going to be a shakeout play where we clear the demand. There's not really too much going on. And then this is luring in buyers. So now we see. Let's see what it wants to look like here. Right now, Dow looks like it's pushing forward first. Look, it's getting a bit more momentum, trading up a little bit higher. Nasdaq a little bit slower on the way up. And trading above here is what I'm looking at. So MNQU here. So then I'm going to set, actually, so look at that. Just like that, it kind of shifts momentum. So this is why, I stay patient here. Okay, here we go. So look at this. Both of these starting to push a little bit higher. Now we're starting to see hold on. Got to make sure I have the right account open. 2. Okay. Looks like NAS is pushing higher, a little bit higher first. One of these two is going to give the right setup. You see how they're both pushing upwards like that? So I'm looking and I'm leaning at with these, and it looks like I want to take NQ here. So what I'm going to do here is place my sell. And I think I might just be missing this right now. So let's see. We can market execute if necessary, but for example, a stop we could have right there. If we want to, let's say, just guarantee we don't miss anything here, TP is going to be further down. And then we're looking at, whoa. So a position like this. And then we got the sell stops over here, or the buy stops over here on this end as well. So, okay. We took the setup here. We chose correctly, looking at how YM is kind of struggling to push downwards while we're seeing NQ continue to move its way down. And that question is, did this copy over successfully? And that I do not know. Oh, whoa. Okay, nice. So got a nice push to the downside here instantly. Got to close that. There's a lot going on here right now. I'll look to the right for 1 second. So great move down. Going to go ahead and tighten our stops here. At this point, there's no point in having any risk on the table. We saw a nice push into the zone. Got into this level right there. So let me zoom out a little bit. Earlier, right, we wanted to see the market kind of get into the zone, see maybe the market wanted to mitigate or whatever over here. That's kind of what we had in line. So I think I still want to take some profit if we see the market push down to this level. I did talk about, taking this a little bit lower. So as of right now, what are we sitting at? Like couple $100 in profit here across all the Apex accounts, and then managed to get in with the Top Step account as well. So I'm de-risking everything. Obviously, I don't really want anything. I don't want to lose anything here. No reason to. Dow is maintaining this structure over here, whereas NQ is pushing more and more to the downside. And it's also the first one to drop. So it's definitely dropping significantly at these levels. So when it breaks these lows and gets into this zone, I'm going to be looking to take some profit off the table. The stop that we had here was pretty nice. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually set my buy limits right there and then just take that, because this was a very solid trade. I mean, we risked 22, 23 points, and we're already up about 50. So I'm more than happy with taking home a 3R, assuming it's going to get poke down into this level. We may see Dow kind of lagging into getting over into these areas. So either this pushes down and it really keeps melting NASDAQ, but looking at the way that this is setting up right now, you see how Dow is like refusing to drop at all? Sometimes that means that it's going to look to, it may be doing a reaccumulation. Did this not take me out?
Order submitted.
Okay, there we go. So this we should be clearing roughly. Okay, so we just took profit there. Quality, happy with that. Call it a day. Cool. So that's just as quickly you guys saw. Took my profit there. So that trade was an example of the shakeout setup, and then I just traded it right into the sell-off that we saw here during London session, which was our London session low. So this could be a mitigation. I'm not going to take that buy. I don't really feel the need to trade this, especially if it's the first one to drop into this zone. I'm good on all that. But the reason I didn't take this for too much longer was because I was noticing Dow Jones just wasn't really following suit. And it was actually holding this bullish structure really well. So either two situations happen. Either Dow follows along, later, it just takes longer, and then eventually it drops. Or because it's not really showing any signs that it's bearish, then sometimes all the other, like in this case, NASDAQ wanted to do was NASDAQ needed to clear its sell. And then now, okay, everything can go back to being bullish. So, yeah, that was a case of quick little. Let's see, how much did we take on that?
Order canceled.
Sweet. If you took that sell with me, let me know. I know apparently the YouTube stream is not. For whatever reason, it's just no chat for me today. Got banned from having a chat or something. But let me know. Drop your wins if you took that. If you took your profit. Let me see it here. I'm looking at the school community. Let me go ahead and pull it up here. I want to see you guys make your post about your wins this week, end of Friday. So on Friday, I'm gonna choose a couple winners based on just some of the wins that we see here in the community. Whether it's lessons or whether it's, W's, if you get funded, if you get withdrawals, just thanks to, the education that we have here and the free live streams that we're doing here. And if you just took a win, hit the like button, share online. We're looking to just continue to put more people on. So let me see, either, drop it in here. If you make your own post, if you do want to, it's funny enough, we actually went short today to start things off. And then I was going to see if we were going to look for longs. But let's see here. What do we got? Okay, you were looking at a few things here, Michael. Took the sell. Thanks. Let's go. Timon. Okay, we got a new post going. So if you do want to classify or qualify for winning, I'm going to be giving away a couple accounts. Drop a post. We want to see your wins here. Shakeout win, a nice shakeout call during the live session. Nice. Joe Ryan. Boom, just like that. So let's unpack this idea. All right, let's unpack how this went, why this went the way that it went. And then, okay, so first and foremost, why did I choose NASDAQ over Dow? We saw them both trading over here. So we saw both of them get up into this range. We saw NASDAQ clear liquidity. We saw Dow clear liquidity. So we had both. From there, we saw them both start to drop down over here, right? And then they both started to work their way higher. When we started to see the market pump up to this level, what I was noticing was a couple things. One, NASDAQ was trading below the range. So when NASDAQ cleared the high and came back down, this was still trading below the previous structure. So it was kind of respecting the zone really well. That was one thing. The second thing that I was noticing was the following. NASDAQ had a reason to come down. It had this imbalance. It had this mitigation that it could target. Dow already took care of that. Dow had already rebalanced, had already mitigated. Also, when Dow was coming down, it was still trading above the previous structure. So I was thinking, okay, this might just reaccumulate instead of just, shorting. So those are the two main factors on how I made the quick decision to short NASDAQ first. Right now, if you guys are, you guys are starting to kind of notice what's happening. Right now we're starting to see, okay, and funny enough, Dow is starting to trade a little bit more bearish, maybe even comes down to this level, into this imbalance, and NASDAQ's holding up. So are we going to see, and I know this is kind of ironic, are we about to see a NASDAQ shakeout for the long now, for the upside? We see it work its way down. There is really no demand here. Comes back up. So now we're seeing the break retest. So this is starting to work its way down. The only thing I don't love about buying NASDAQ right now is that Dow could just decide to go lower. So if we see Dow come down to here, I don't know where that's going to take NASDAQ because we do have a bit of an imbalance right here. We saw the sell, the sweep of the low, the continuation. The market comes back down to here. I'd say we still could work our way over to this range. So, I was like, do I really want to buy that? The low right now, so here's where we saw. Here's the low on Dow post New York Open. Here's the low that we just got. Here's where we took profit, which our exit was on point. Exit was on point. And we came back up here. Here we had, like I said, the typical break and retest. This lures in more sellers. And this is when I was saying, hey, I think we could probably buy and we'll be okay. But, it was maintaining this structure. But with this imbalance over here, I just didn't love it. So I was okay with just kind of waiting. Now, with all that being said, let's zoom out a little bit, right? We don't want to get caught just totally zoomed in, despite getting beautiful reaccumulation setting up here. Let's zoom out a little bit. Make sure we have at least the full picture of this week. Not necessarily, we're not really on the macro right now. We're kind of dealing with what we have for this week so far. And what I want to see is, are we going to see NASDAQ pick up momentum and lead the way to the upside, which could give us a short here? So we'll see. If Dow keeps pumping, then, and let's say it gets up to this zone before NASDAQ does, then I'll probably just wait it out and I won't take this. Para los que están aquí en español, básicamente si sigue volando US30 Dow Jones primero, entonces no vendería, pero si Nasdaq agarra impulso, llega por acá primero y después sigue Dow un poquito más atrasado, entonces sí dispararía para la venta. Okay, let me look at here. So nice, good stuff, Joe. Just close some of these. Okay, looks like that froze. Indices. So what we'll do now is we'll give the market some space to just move. We took our trade. We hit a just about a 3R. So if you took this position, then just so we had the proper perspective, the move was this. So and this was like quick. This was quick. You guys saw within like a minute of entering or 2 minutes of entering, the market just started to absolutely rip to the downside. So we got this move here, and then we took it right into this zone. So just for a 3R, like perfectly tagged us out. Maybe even short, depending on. I had it right on the money, so not too shabby. This was the original setup. Make sure you guys log this in your trading journals. If you don't have one, then you can just go to tradetopia.store, and there's a trading journal there, all online, full online dashboard. Okay, so what are we getting now? Let's look at what we're seeing now. Looks like NASDAQ pulling up again, taking out some of these highs, starting to lose some momentum. Dow just chilling. So let's just let that do whatever it wants to do. And let's get a good perspective on the majors. And I'm sure a lot of you are trading currencies and metals. So actually, let's go look at gold. Let's go look at gold and silver. Let's see what are these guys doing. Are metals having a fun day today, or are they just kind of chilling? All right, let's see. Gold kind of caught up in a range, cleared some of these lows, traded into a bit into this huge. What's up? Oh, is it? Huh?
We haven't been able to know what you're talking about for the last 3 minutes.
Oh, really? That's lame. For whatever reason. Okay. Yo, let me know if you guys can see or hear. It's good? Huh?
It's good, yeah.
All right, cool. Yay. Okay, cool. So you guys didn't see what I was talking about earlier. Basically, just to give a quick recap. I want to see to sell. I want to see Dow start to lead, or NASDAQ. I want to see NASDAQ lead to the upside here. Quiero ver NASDAQ llegar por aquí arriba antes de ventas. That would be ideal. And then if Dow can kind of lag behind and sneak its way into this zone, then I'm good with the short from like up here somewhere. So we will wait. Outside of that, making sure you guys can see that here. Looks like you should be able to. Then gold, on the other hand, we saw a huge spike over here with gold. So, gold is actually frozen. So let's go one screen here. Give you guys a full view. That's the only downside of my entry strategy is in having that last confirmation, which is the divergence, is that you guys don't get a full screen of like one chart. You're looking at multiple. So as we look at a good perspective here, we saw a huge pump with gold. We then see the market work its way down, squeeze here. So there's definitely tons of sellers, tons of buyers. This builds up liquidity for all of Monday, leading to New York session. And then that was playing off of Friday and Thursday price action. This melts through, bleeds through, and then works its way down to this zone here. So right now we kind of poked right below this New York-London overlap from Thursday to kind of play into this area. And from here we reject, come back down, come back up. So we're just squeezing. With gold, we have quite a bit of liquidity building up here. And it's been on a bearish trend. So forcing a trade to here, like this is all, in my opinion, market environment that I don't want to be involved with. I want nothing to do with this. There's kind of two scenarios here. We either get the sweep of the high, somewhere into here. And if we have little demand and it makes sense, then cool, we could take a shakeout play further down. Or we just continue to trade higher and then we take the short somewhere in here, since the market is pretty good price action. Then we could take a short in here. Transparently, you're probably looking at 100, 150, maybe even more as a stop loss. So there's kind of two main options with gold here. So this is one of them, or we just continue to, and this could go down first as well. So there's just a variety of options with this. Because we have equal lows over here, like I would want to buy this, but this right there is kind of in the way. And so we might just actually crack right below all of that and trade into this last sell-off. So despite this being a massive push down, huge sweep, it does make more liquidity right there. SPX is lagging. Ooh. So I'll go take a look at that here in a sec. So we have some key zones here. So this is gold. Let me take a little screenshot here. You guys have the zones on the extremes, and then we have the possible play under the right circumstances. Now that would just need a few extra confirmations. So Tradetopia trades. All right, so gold. Okay, here we go. Beautiful. All right, let's go look at indices. I was told that S&P is lagging behind, so let's go take a look at that. I see. Okay. S&P here, similar setups, right? We have the sweep of the high, and then we see right now the market is pushing up into this range. It looks like it's kind of just building up liquidity from some of these Asian session peaks that we had over here. Cool. Then we have NASDAQ just creating more and more liquidity at this level. I'm not looking to be in sells here. And we're seeing Dow doing actually, like, of the three, Dow is at the moment a bit more bullish than the rest. So this short might not make sense for us. Pues esto parece que no va a ser la venta, ya que lleva con mucha intensidad alcista. What could make sense here could be could be a buy setup. So right now we're seeing the market squeezing. So we're just watching this build up tons and tons of buyers. We saw here before the market opened. So we see the sweep of the low and then the continuation. The market, if we look at this here, when we see the market pull back down to here, I would say we don't necessarily mitigate yet. So if we get a wick down to here, I think we could see the market rally. Especially because we're maintaining this structure. If we were to get a move like this, we could see this then continue. Maybe we get up here first. I'm not sure. Let me clear this off the watch list now. So if Dow gets up to this zone, do we look to short NQ? Since here's where we got NQ build up that big position, it starts to rally, clear some of these highs, plays right up into this zone. Clears this, comes up into here. This creates that last high. Then the market melts down. Is it going to be NASDAQ? Is it going to be S&P? So let me get some alerts going over here. Got S&P alert. We got NASDAQ alert. We see it much more clearly with NQ. More liquidity there. And then, actually, I need to change this. So let's pull up. Okay, we need that, those fresh contracts. Freshies. Hello, good sir. There we go. So, all right, Dow is working its way up to this, getting pretty close. Meanwhile, NQ still within all of this liquidity. So at this point, it looks like the short is going to be NASDAQ or S&P. And if it's between NASDAQ and S&P, then usually that means that it's going to be NASDAQ. Usually. Very rarely is S&P kind of leading the pack with any of these moves. Hey, I appreciate you guys. Everyone that's on, liking the stream. Hopefully you guys are able to make a little bit with the trade earlier. All right, NQ starting to push up a little bit. Dow chilling out. All right, we have more than enough alerts, so if we have to come back to this, we definitely will. In the meantime, we were looking at gold. I want to take a quick look at silver before making any decisions. Silver's just been very bullish here throughout the day. All of this squeezing led to an absolute eruption with silver. I would say if you were able to hold within this, which I wouldn't have probably, then good stuff. I think had some good spike down continuation. Maybe you get a pullback and then another long with silver. And then let's look at the majors. After I look at the majors here, then I'll start to peep what's up, what's good in the chat in the Tradetopia chat. And looks like we are going back to indices right away. Okay. So as you guys can see, we broke into where the buy started with Dow first. So Dow is kind of the first one to reach this level. Meanwhile, we're witnessing NQ and S&P still kind of lagging behind. So let's check those out. NQ here still hasn't actually taken the high either. The liquidity, it's barely getting into liquidity now. So we're seeing that lag behind. But its time is coming, it looks like. It'll probably wouldn't take too much longer. And with a play like this, either we see a rejection maybe out of these little order blocks, or we play a little bit higher. So like, yeah, right into this zone, maybe up here. But I think just for the sake of locking, getting in a good position right there, looks good. And then we have something like this. And then the exit, I think we can trade back into this imbalance here. So we're looking at about a 2R. Nothing crazy. We'll see what kind of movement we get. Because if we reject and then kind of looks like we're staying bullish, then it might just be a move that's just pretty minimally dropping. And then we may have to just go for like a stop profit or something, or take an early profit there. Right now, one of the things that I'm witnessing is Dow is still pushing to the upside. So very bullish on Dow still. And then as I'm looking at this, I'm looking at right around like 22,150, maybe a little bit higher for MNQ. Like right around that range. And then the stop, obviously, above the highs. So we get to see something like this. Okay, so while that's continuing to work its way up a little bit, let's take a look at S&P. S&P, pretty similar. Not too far from it. Okay. So we went. While we're seeing Dow already kind of poking up into this zone. Now, one of the things that could happen, sometimes it happens. It's not as common, but sometimes it happens. Sometimes we get, would me copying this trade even though I don't see the setup as clearly mean I'm breaking my plan? Yes, it means you're breaking your plan for sure. So how do you have a chat and I don't have a chat?
I'm cooler.
Huh?
I'm cooler. Obviously.
Oh, you're cooler? Well, yeah, that's undisputable. Damn. I got to be cooler to earn a chat. What if I refreshed? Maybe I need to refresh this thing. Yeah, so if you don't see the setup, don't take it. For sure. Remember, the goal is for you to be the trader, not to be the follower. Like, that's not the point. The point, for me, I want to create independent thinkers. I want to create little Neos everywhere. So right now we're seeing how it's kind of starting to stall here. So what I'm getting at is we might, if let's say NASDAQ breaks through and all of a sudden NASDAQ gets into the zone and Dow is kind of slowed down its price action, then this may flip into a Dow sell instead. So and that's a possibility. Like right now, if we keep getting, let's say NASDAQ to go upwards and Dow kind of just chills out, then we may have a Dow setup. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go split screen again because I have a weird feeling that that's what's about to happen. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I got the chat. Sick. What's up, guys? I got the YouTube chat now. This is amazing. It was weird not having a chat. But you guys had a chat this whole time. Okay, hello. What's good, what's good? What's up, Kaz, Michael, Puccini? What's up, Seth? Yeah, link. Nancy dropped the link. I can go ahead and pin this. I'm just catching up here with some of the chat. NQ sell from yesterday is still running. Nice, fire. Hope you took profit at some point. Yeah, man, thought I saw you post, Mike Burton, another UK guy finally. Hey, UK. I see the UK is like locking in here. I've been seeing a lot more new members from the UK in there. Shakeout on NAS. Yeah, that's exactly what we did. Working the magic. Mike, can you please recap why you took that sell? I did that. NQ's moving faster than the macro. 2R, thanks. Choppy was in it. 2.8 to 1, almost 3. Good stuff. Good exit. Yeah, that was a shakeout setup. Okay. Mike, is NQ NASDAQ? Yes, Izzy, it is. DJ and YM are US 30. Yes, prices will be different. Mike, one question. Some charts or futures look different. How do you pick your chart or fresh chart? Jonathan. So it's because of you're getting new contracts. Like this week, they're rolling into new contracts. So some platforms are going to start using, for example, September's With some prop firms, it automatically switches it over. We're still so close to ATH. I'm concerned about selling up there. So, Damien, what does that have to do with price right now? Ask yourself, am I trading for intraday? Am I trading macro? Is it higher time frame, lower time frame? What is the overall perspective that you have? Is there liquidity that is having you consider, let's say, not selling or not buying? So we will see. But yeah, Jonathan, take a look at that. Right now, all of your charts, to make it easy, to make sure you have the right one, it should end in a U. All right, it should end in U. So whether it's the mini or the micro, these the one. If it starts with an M, it's a micro. But this should end in a U, and that's when you know you're basically with the newest contract. Right now, it's looking like NASDAQ should still will be the short, at least the short that I'm taking. And NQ looks a little bit better than MNQ, and NQ is, in my opinion, more like it has actual volatility, the volume. So you'll see more precise numbers here. So even Dow is still pushing higher and NASDAQ actually going lower. Did I already see Bitcoin? No, I actually haven't looked at Bitcoin yet. I can, though. I can look at Bitcoin. So, yeah, let's do that. Right now, I have another chart open, so I'll have my eyes on indices. Before we go into the majors, let's take a quick look at Bitcoin. I'm down for that. Has Bitcoin rallied this morning alongside indices? Not so much, actually. So, yeah, Bitcoin kind of taking its time, working its way higher. Interesting. Okay. So let's zoom out a little. What's the narrative here? We saw Bitcoin rally on Monday through New York session. Basically, Asian session opens and we start to melt. Right now, looks like liquidity is building up here. Let me keep my eye on the chat. Let's see if you guys let me know if it's just a lag or if we get anything weird going on. But there's a lot of retail buys here set up, so I don't think I think we might have one more sweep to the downside left. The market is looking like very different. So, for example, indices are starting to trade. If you look at yesterday, right, indices are starting to trade closer to that Asian session open, whereas when we're looking at Bitcoin's still trading way down here. All right, we're trading closer to Sunday's price action. So very different. Bitcoin lagging behind. I wouldn't be surprised if we see another push down. Now, Bitcoin failing to sustain these levels up here, what at least that means to me is that right now, since there's not too much demand here, price may need to go down further first in order for anything else to continue to happen to the upside over here. So we may see another push down. I think that's more than likely what we're going to see happen here. Okay, now I want to bring back up indices because I am noticing something curious here. But yeah, pretty good discounts. You know, you're gonna get pretty good levels right now with cryptos, alts, etc. I think we may see another wick down. So if you're looking at dollar cost average or anything like that, maybe getting your chance here soon. Okay, with NAS, take a look at this. What are you guys starting to see here with NASDAQ? Starting to witness something interesting. And we see NAS clear the highs, play up into here. Let's see, here's NQ. Plays up into the imbalance. So it does get a little bit short of the at this buy position here. And now, though, what we're starting to see is it looks like this sweeps liquidity, fails to make new highs. So we're seeing a failure of demand here. It's working its way back down. Are we seeing a break retest? And then will we get a move up here and trade out of this instead? So there's a chance that we don't actually come up to sell from up here and that we get a short out of here. And then we can tackle this on again. So something like this might be a possibility, considering we're so close to this sweep of liquidity. Like, we just see a lot more more come in. And for example, let me go ahead and pull this up. The area that I'm looking about to short is this right here. You can see how the market significantly brings tons of buyers and then the market sells off. So we do get short of this. We didn't quite make it to this level, and we got into a little bit of an imbalance. So I kind of want to see what that looks like right now. This is what NASDAQ's doing. And if we take a look at Dow, for example, all right, Dow is definitely trading in this range, came up into this zone. It's still relatively bullish. So there is the added benefit that we may see the mitigation of Dow at the same time and see NASDAQ drop as well. So I'm kind of curious to see what that looks like, if it's going to be worth shorting this or not. I haven't really made up my mind quite yet. So I like having these side by side, so let me go ahead and do that. So right now, more of the same. NASDAQ fails to maintain above these highs again. So it looks like the intention here was to liquidate sellers, lure in buyers. We have Dow trading over here. And if we look at price action side by side, relatively similar. So, yeah, it's interesting. This may be worth taking the shot here, and if it doesn't play out, then at least I feel confident taking the sell over here as well. So I'm not necessarily. I think I'm down for this one here Because now, like, we're just seeing the market build up over here. We're seeing the buys build up over here. So you see it break out. The market comes back in. It's trading from this zone. Especially if we kind of get maybe a bit more of a bullish move with Dow. It just kind of keeps climbing higher. And Nas just like stays within this range. That is going to be a good sign that the market may want to short from here. And that's just divergence. So like, let's say, for example, Dow here is trading higher again. So it gets above this high. So we'll say something like this. So for example, look at this. Dow is pushing up more again. Looks like it might just break above this high here soon. And then if we see NASDAQ, let's say, barely budge, could be worth it. With the setup like this where you know, okay, well, but there's a mitigation setup right up there. Should we just wait for it? And you totally could. You totally could. That's why right now I haven't committed to this idea yet because I want to see price action unfold. I want to see, okay, where do we get to? Like if Dow is going to be trading way up here and NASDAQ is still trading down here. So look at that. Dow is currently cracking those highs. And NASDAQ still trading down there. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so I mean, we're witnessing it. Dow making higher highs, still pushing higher. NQ still chopping up. So I think if we get a little poke, just another little push, just a nice little push here, I'm down to take the play, to take a short. It'll be a really tight stop. So I don't even have to really risk as much as I guess would want to. Could be pretty mellow. And then we go for a play. And this could be calf risk since we're so close to it. And I could see it run through. I don't necessarily need to trade the same size. And it's a tight stop. So it should be a bigger contract. So let's see how this rolls here. Okay. So right now, 1 minute time frame. Look how slow in New York session, and it's just so slow. But look how price action is flipping. Now we're starting to see Dow go bearish, Nas go bullish. We got NQ here, or we got Dow just absolutely squeezing. There's so many buy positions just lined up here. Wow. A big sell-off is coming soon. Question is it going to happen sooner or later? With this much liquidity building up right there? We are in the mitigation zone for Dow. Let's see. When you see the market squeeze like this, usually there's a big moment coming. Whenever you see just like squeeze slow, it like slows down. This is the calm before the storm. What you don't want to do is just start forcing positions, forcing trades, getting in the market when it is not your time to be in the market and to do things like that. So you don't want to force anything. Here, okay, we're pushing down again. All right. There he goes. It's shorted. I didn't get in. Obviously, you guys are seeing if I take the positions or not. But I mean, it gave us. This was the break, retest, lures in buyers, squeezes. I kind of thought we were going to get another push up before it dropped. It didn't. It just dropped instead, which is fine. So this may be all it's going to do. And so I'm not looking to short anymore unless we work our way higher again. And the reason being, this did the typical lures in buyers, and then instead of going higher, it goes down and it clears those lows. So as of right now, I want to see the market continue. This may push the market higher, especially because look at how the market doesn't stay here. It comes down, and then these prices get eaten up. So it's showing, okay, there's really not that much demand over here still. Not yet, at least. Okay, which is fine. So that drop happened. We weren't involved, and that's definitely not a big deal. And it could still keep going down, so that's definitely a reality. I'm going to stay open and see if we do work our way higher at some point and maybe we do still poke above and see something happen. What we are noticing is Dow is starting to drop. It's dropped about 50 points. So maybe this is mitigating and NASDAQ is doing its move. Let's see. Because this move here is about 100 points. Yeah, just about 100 points. So if Dow is, if the sells are really coming in, then this should be a pretty significant drop. We should be seeing something like this. If that's not the case yet, and the market is still going to continue bullish, then we don't get anywhere near this, and we just kind of see it continue to work its way up, which looks like I mentioned, it looks like the market did shake out. It did do this move, but now we're pushing higher. So we rebalanced. The market may look to go forward some more. Let's wait it out. So we wait. Let's look at, I know you guys talked about S&P earlier. Let's see, where's S&P? Not quite there yet. Okay. All right. Come back to that. To wrap up today's session, I'm going to do a quick rundown through the majors, and then we'll call it a day. Yesterday's GU sell. Did anyone take it? Did anyone take this short? Played right into here, closed out the buy. I talked about how I really would have liked this sell had we had lower lows. Then I really would have liked this. And then I was comparing this to euro, right? I was like, euro is clearing a high, so euro took out this high, and I was like, look, if we take out the external high, like over here, if this does that, and GU's in that zone, then I'm in, like I'm down. But GU only took out the previous high instead, and I was just too cautious with this one. I mean, the setup would have been right here. So this is like 15 pip stop, and then this is now dropped 120. So that's a sitting actively at a 9R. Solid trade. I would have taken it. I would have already profited though. I would have taken it out over here. Quality play for sure. Actually, no, I probably would have taken it out right over here. Either way, 50. What about 70 points? 4.5 R. Solid. Super solid. So yeah, congrats if you guys decided to take that play. Well done. Right now, what we're seeing is, huge movement. Dollar picking up tons of momentum. We're seeing NZD work its way down. We're seeing USD CAD push higher. USD CHF push higher. USD JPY push even higher. The buy from last week was the low. This was the low. So if you guys were able to run that, congratulations. It's looking beautiful. USD JPY also leaving another setup over here. So it looks like we see a nice push down before the market continued. I would like to look at yen futures to confirm that this is not just liquidity. But yeah, dollar just picking up tons of momentum. Anyone in majors? Anyone take anything? Have a good setup. GU just melting away. Euro as well. And that leaves us with AUD USD. So there was a setup that maybe we get to today. And that's this one here. So we had a nice sweep. Market pushes up, comes back down, pushes up. So decent highs here. Kind of in this range. So looks like I would say we have 1 hour highs. We don't necessarily break above this. So trading within this area is more what I would be looking for. But that's odd USD. We may have a better opportunity with a different major. So for example, let's take a look at, so right now odd USD is, let's say, from this low. This low was from Sunday. So Sunday's Asian session low. Got all the way up to here. And right now the pullback that we're seeing is roughly about a 50% pullback, a little under. And if we go take a look at Euro is trading into already below Sunday's low, trading into Fridays. So I'm not necessarily aiming for that. Same thing with GU. GU extremely bearish, already trading at Wednesday's price action. Staying away from that. NZD USD does have these Sunday's low. This nice push down here. The market moves up. Trades up above on the 1 hour as well, comes up again. So not necessarily giving us the best confirmations for like higher highs, but to trade within the range, I think we may have an opportunity here. So you see the sell-off right there. Got it moving over here. Got this play right there. this looks solid. And then we can throw the fib on here just to see at what intensity are we seeing NZD drop right now. NZD just below that 50%. So NZD USD, AUD USD, pretty similar in the way that they're trading right now. So what I do here is throw an alert on here. NZD, got that alert. And then same thing, throw an alert on something like Australian. All right, throw an alert on here, and which is already there. And then just kind of see, okay, which one of these two is going to be kind of the slowest to work its way there, and then take a buy position, take a long from that zone. So somewhere over here. So AU, NZD, USD, if you guys want to mark that up, chart that, definitely be my guest. Actually, I guess I will here. So AU versus NU. So here it is. As of right now, I'm leaning towards NZD USD, but obviously, you know, things can change. Okay. Got that there. And I'll post this here as soon as I wrap up. And then that brings us to that's about it, really. All right, let me look at the chat. What's good, chat? May have just passed my secret 25 and 50K accounts this morning. Secret accounts. Didn't you say you were going to take a break from accounts? Boy. Is there a GU buy setup or is it melting too fast? I wouldn't say it's necessarily melting too fast. I think that relative to other setups, like it's just more bearish than other setups. So I would rather trade something that's like a little bit, of a slower drop. Let's see, where's GU? So yeah, GU is coming down to like these 4-hour higher lows over here. I totally understand that. Relatively, it's trading more bearish than something like AUD USD that's also looking to get down to those 4-hour lows, but it's just dropping at a slower pace. So the chances of it breaking through these lows is a little bit less. Same thing with like NZD USD. NZD USD has similar 4-hour lows, but it's, you know, it's got a little bit more to go. So the chances of it staying within the zone, I think, are pretty good. Yeah, Brandon, I'm calling you out here in front of everybody. My boy. It's like yesterday or 2 days ago. I was like, yeah, man, I got to take a break from these challenges, bro. I'm going crazy. Today's like, yeah, I might have just passed one. Okay, let's see here. All right. So to wrap up, looks like the drop that we saw with indices here, it looks like to me we kind of pushed down to lure in some more sellers. Like the shakeout idea, I think did happen where we saw the market sweep, and then it lured in some buyers. We see it push down. It doesn't seem like there's just enough demand here right now, so I think we still end up going higher, and then we can see the short. And Dow Jones is still. I mean, let's see. Did Dow mitigate? Got pretty close. So Dow, I mean, gave a pretty decent short. Maybe some of you guys took that. I'm not in this or anything like that. So, yeah, we'll take another look at this. May or may not take a short on NASDAQ if we work our way up here. We'll just kind of see how they compare to one another. But good stuff, guys. We caught that trade right in the beginning of the stream, right after New York Open. And caught that nice, relatively 3R, maybe 2.5 to 3R, depending on how well it went for you. So that trade, I think, lasted like 3 minutes or something. So pretty good way to start. Well, I guess it's the second day of the week. And then yesterday's Dow shorts melted. So as of now, I think we are 2 wins and 1 loss on the live stream here. And that is looking like currently around a 6R for the week. The month is going crazy. En español, básicamente, me prefiero las compras con NZD, pero que vaya un poco más. Y con Indices aquí voy a estar esperando si voy a estar vendiendo Nasdaq un poco más arriba, pero quiero ver cómo va la acción de precio con Dow Jones también. Entonces, si Dow sigue subiendo por acá arriba y Nasdaq también sube, pero un poquito más atrasadito, entonces ahí dispararía ventas aquí con Nasdaq. So, good stuff, guys. If you're not in the community, I don't know what you're doing. Click the link that's pinned at the top. Don't forget to hit the like button so that we can get more exposure, get people right here, give them a chance to really learn what trading really looks like, see what live market execution looks like. You guys are watching me trade, well over 1 million live. So, yeah, keep plugging in, keep learning. And for those of you that really want hands-on curriculum, day by day, trust me, you're going to want to join the syndicate. And if that is you, stop playing with me. Trust is worth it. So if that's you, click here to apply to the syndicate in Tradetopia. It is a 1-year program, and help me help you get you right. So peace out, guys. We'll see you all again. Remember, tomorrow is FOMC. So we'll have an exclusive live stream in the community for FOMC. So I'll see you guys there. If you got that W, make sure you drop it in the community as well. We are going to be giving away some funded accounts for some people with awesome wins. So if this is better than Netflix, you're damn right it is, because this is the Netflix that gets you paid. Peace out, guys. Till next time.